Hello and welcome. This is Nancy and I am so happy to be with you tonight. It is Thursday, the 9th of July in the year of our Lord 2026. And I laugh because I never can remember the date. Even though I might look at it like 20 minutes ago. It's like, is it? I'll know the day, but then I'll say, well, is it? Which month? I don't know if you guys have that problem, but I sure do. And it just seems like it's more relevant and prevalent the further along in our journeys that we are, and that we go. Not that we are personally, but that the Great Awakening as it progresses. I don't know exactly what that means. We've talked about timelines before on this podcast. We've talked about my thoughts. Some of you shared your thoughts. I've shared other people's thoughts, but the reality of it is nobody knows. We all have thoughts, but why every age group thinks, feels, just has this, I don't even know what it is. I'm not saying it's an uneasiness. It's just an unusualness of how fast time goes. And we've heard it our whole lives, especially growing up. We hear our parents talk about it, our grandparents talk about it, and people would just say that, well, when you get older, time just seems to go faster. And that is what we heard for years and years and years. However, in the last few years, we're hearing it from young people, younger than me people, and I'm 70, so people younger could be a year ago, a year younger, but I'm not talking about decades younger. You know, they say it goes so fast as well. And no one can explain it. And no one will be able to explain it until we all, given the knowledge, for my people will perish for lack of knowledge. So God doesn't want us to perish. So I do believe we will have the knowledge at some point about all the questions we have right now and have had. Probably not all of our lives, because when you don't know something, you don't really have any questions about it. But in the last 8 years for me, that's when I joined the Great Awakening, I guess you could say. I didn't know I was joining the Great Awakening, but the Lord put a scripture on my heart. I looked it up. It was Luke 8:17. When I read it, it said, everything that's been kept secret, hidden, and in the dark will be revealed and will come to light. And my question to God was, what's been kept secret? And what's been hidden? Well, anyway, the last 8 years of my life have been God revealing those answers to me. And 2.5 years into my journey, which I always show an illustration of a journey. Every journey has a beginning and the end. I use my hands for that illustration. And all of us, if you're here, you're on this journey too. You might be at the very beginning of your journey. You might be 8 years into your journey like I am, and I don't know where on the graph that is, but I mean, I know people who have been awake for 20 years. And so I don't know where on the graph it is, but if this is the destination, and the destination is the fulfillment of God's promise, everything that's been kept secret, hidden, and in the dark will be revealed and will come to light, everything. And if that's what the end of this journey is, well, we don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know how God's going to finalize it, finish it, so to speak. But what I do know is that for the last 8 years of my life, He has been revealing to me things that we've been lied to about our entire lives, giving me, preparing me for it, preparing my heart, preparing my mind, and then showing me and leading me and guiding me and directing me and giving me discernment. So about 2 years into my journey, that's when he put on my heart I needed to start sharing what I had learned with others. And that was not my idea. I've never done videos, never wanted to do videos. That doesn't mean I'm shy or introverted or anything like that. I am an accomplished public speaker in my career and have spoke before crowds of thousands, of 7,000 I think was my biggest crowd I ever spoke live in front of. And I've talked one-on-one with people across a dining room table. And no one's really a stranger to me. I, am outgoing and just not shy, but I never made videos. I didn't even do, like some people call it or have called it, FaceTiming, with my family. I would. I mean, I wouldn't not do it, but it's just not something we've ever done. And even though they don't, live in town or anything. And my daughter's even worse than I am. So I tried to get it going with my daughter years ago when my grandsons were young. And she's worse than me. She'd do it. She started doing it a little bit, but she would never have the camera on her. She would have it be like something like that, And she'd be there, but she'd always turn it off. Anyway, it was a colossal failure. So that would have been my only experience with videoing me, would have been with my family. So then God called me to do this, and totally out of my comfort zone, totally out of my tech zone. The reason I went on Facebook the first time in April of 2021, all I had to do was push a button. I didn't really want to go on Facebook because they censor so much, and especially back then. I mean, you couldn't even say the word COVID. I had to spell it. You couldn't say the word vaccine. I just used this as a symbol, like da-da-da-da-da about the, I did that for over 2 years, maybe 3. I don't even remember. It's been 5 years, over 5 years since I've been with you guys. Now, it's crazy when I think about it, because when God called me to do this, I was like, how bad can it be? 6 months, a year, tops. Just shows how naive I was and how desirous I was of getting over quick. But 5 years has tempered my impatience and given me perspectives that I never would have had otherwise. And so anyway, I went live for the first time then, April of 2021. And 2022, in March, I started a Rumble channel, which I knew nothing about that kind of stuff, so I had to figure it all out. There's 3 people that do the work in this ministry, Seeking Truth Always. Me, myself, and I. That's it. Some people would say it's a 1-woman show. I say it's a 3-woman show. Me, myself, and I. So I've had to figure it all out along the way. And I still have... someday I do believe I'll go live from Rumble to multi-streaming. But it's been just one chaotic, time-delaying spiritual warfare battle all along. And you guys that have been with me for a long time, you know all of them. And yeah, they're still happening. I was that close again, and then my whole computer crashed. And it was a new computer. I mean, little over a year old. The whole CPU crashed. And that was a few months ago, and I was that close with the person that was helping me. And so everything just got pushed back, and then things are happening in their life, and we haven't been able to really get together since I got up and running again with the computer that was repaired. And anyway, just one thing after another. But maybe one day. But until then, here I am. I will still live stream, but it would be through a multi-stream to Facebook if we can figure it out and get it worked out. But it's been a journey. This has been my journey. And all of you are on your journey. And I'm honored and privileged to be taking it with you. So many people over the last 5 years, God brought into my life. You know, many of you have reached out to me and we become friends. We become even not just acquaintance friends, but close friends. And isn't that cool what God can do? And some people have found me, you know, found my podcast and even lived within an area that we could meet face to face in person. And that's really cool too. Most of you are at a distance, but I have Chris, who comes from South Dakota. We've never met, and we've been friends since I don't know, like I don't even remember. Like we were talking about that one night not too long ago, but we met because of business. And she was in South Dakota, I was in Indiana, and we collaborated on some businesses together, and we just became like sisters. We are sisters. We're sisters in the Lord. But I've never met her. She's never met me. But we're like this. No one ever said it had to be blood that made you family, you know. And so anyway, many of you I've gotten the privilege and wonderful blessing of being friends with. So anyway, if you guys are joining on Rumble, I'm now over on YouTube. Not because I was like, oh, I can't wait to get on YouTube. I did not want to go on YouTube because they censor worse than all of them. But the Lord just put in my spirit, there's people over there that are not aware. And He doesn't want any of His people to perish for lack of knowledge. And everybody resonates with different people. And I certainly don't resonate with everybody. And everybody certainly won't resonate with me. But there's some I do. And the Lord says some of them are over there, that maybe I can help in their breakthrough. So I started a channel over there. And if you haven't subscribed over there, please, 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 please do. I think I'm up to 124 subscribers. It's free. They just call them subscribers, not followers over there. And in Rumble, that I started in March of 2022, we're over 60. I'll look. Lose track. I am at 6,180 followers, 80 plus. 6,180 plus. So knocking on the door of 6,200 followers. So if you're one of those, welcome. And I'm so glad you're with us. Well, I'd like to get up to that over there on Facebook. I'm sorry, YouTube. Because the more followers you have, or subscribers, the more people that like your videos and comment your videos, their algorithms will push the videos out more. I don't make any money over there, trust me. It's not about money for me. If it were, well, it just never has been, and it won't be. But some of you have offered and stepped up and helped through the years, because there are lots of expenses with, number one, not being able to work. I always have worked from home, so my time would have been in business development of some type over the last 5 years. Well, the Lord just stopped me in my tracks of everything I was doing at the time. I was working with ministries and churches worldwide and in many different countries, helping them to understand and learn how to do crowdfunding that could add revenue to their ministry or their churches and so forth. But the Lord it was a wonderful thing to be doing, and I loved it. And I met so many cool people from all over the world doing it. But He wanted me here. He wanted me doing this for such a time as this. And, well, He hasn't ended this season yet. And many of you have helped me and helped everyone else that follows Seeking Truth Always to keep me live and going in this ministry, because without the financial support, I wouldn't have been able to. My husband and I are on Social Security, fixed income, lost everything after COVID. Credit cards maxed out, lawsuits followed with a business we lost, and then liens were put on our home. And it's just been a financial nightmare since then. And he delivers food 7 days a week with Grubhub locally just to help make our ends meet. And I do this. And it's a labor of love. Not one nickel that's donated to this ministry goes to us or our electric bill or our social life, which is zero. We got nothing going on. We go to church. We get a bite to eat after church every Sunday. He works every night. I'm working this every day and every night. And he works during the day and the night, but he goes out after the lunch for the lunch crowd, and then he's out for the dinner crowd, and then he stays out to about 10-11 because a lot of people eat late. So anyway, whatever you donate goes 100% to Seeking Truth Always. So if you have, thank you. And if you can or are able to, moving forward, it's you guys that keep me here. And thank you. And I know everyone else thanks you too, because not everybody can or able to donate. And so anyway, links are in the description of this video for my YouTube channel, for a video that is entitled Introduction to Nancy, that if you're new and you'd like to learn a little more about how God brought me here and what qualified me, well, it was totally him. But if you want to hear my story, there's a video link in the description of this video. And finally, if you are able to donate, there are links to secure sites, different platforms that will process payments. Give, Send, Go is my favorite. It's like a GoFundMe, but it is a faith-based GoFundMe. It's called Give, Send, Go. They are 100% donation based as well, and they do not charge a fee to me or anyone else that has a platform, it's on their platform. They don't, but the financial banks and financial processors of payments, they charge fees. But that's the only fee you'll pay with Give, Send, Go. People donate to keep them going too. And I understand that. But I really respect and admire that, because they're not charging me anything. Or you. The bank's the only one that charges something. So if you give $10 as an example, I would get $9 and the bank would get $1. And with other platforms, the bank would get their $1, the platform would get anywhere between probably 80 cents and $1.20 on a $10 donation. And we end up with, receiving whatever's left over. But not Give, Send, Go. They don't take that fee from us or from you. So anyway, there's that. And the link for the YouTube channel is in the description of this video as well. So that's enough of the housekeeping. What we want to do now is get to the meat of this podcast for I almost said September. Can you believe that? For July 9th. Oh, amazing how the mind works, or doesn't. But we're going to be continuing on our series that we've been doing, the series called the sequel to the Fall of the Cabal. We are on part 7 of that series, and there's 28 parts. And a few months ago, I showed the original Fall of the Cabal on my podcast. There were 10 segments of that. And then Janet Ossebaard did a follow-up sequel series, 28 parts, to educate all of us for the world we live in. The world that was, the world that is, and the world that's coming. And we are on part 7, and tonight we're going to be talking about, she's going to be talking about 5,500 NGOs, this would have been at the time she made this series, which would have been probably about 5 years ago, is my guesstimate. So she's going to be talking about 5,500 NGOs connected to the UN. And if you've been watching this series with me, you are probably as sick to your stomach about the UN as I am. Now, I've seen this series before, but it just brings it all to light. What did God say in His Word? Everything has been kept secret and hidden and in the dark will be revealed and will come to light. So she brings to light in this particular episode, part 7, about 5,500 NGOs. Those are non-government organizations, otherwise known as charities, and of some type, or non-for-profits. And she, how she words it is, she exposes their so-called charity work. And so that's what we'll be doing a little bit later in this podcast. We're also going to be talking about SCOTUS again. I put together some information about SCOTUS and about a ruling that they recently had in regard to the executive branch, that would be the president, and their ruling that the executive branch must use the military before the National Guard. And that's interesting when you think about something we've talked about for 5 years on and off again, and that would be the military intervening. I mean, we all know, most of us know, most of you know if you follow me, that this is a military operation. But if there is martial law, the military would enforce it. And there was always a question, like, how would it be? Would it be the military? Would it be the National Guard? Would it be? How could it be? Anyway, the SCOTUS order, the SCOTUS Supreme Court of the United States, this ruling completely clarifies that. So I'm going to share that with you. I also have put together an article. We talk a lot on this podcast about the fact that it's a war of good versus evil. And there's a lot of evil in this world. Evil, we all knew there was evil. But I think none of us knew, myself, at the top of the list, none of us knew just how prevalent it was and how dark and deep and evil it has been that we have learned. And especially against children. And that goes back thousands of years. People that worship to satanic gods, Moloch and Baal, B-A-A-L. That's their thing, to sacrifice children. And anyway, we found out a lot of evil. So tonight I put together an article about what I came up with in multiple, lots of ways that President Trump is ending the rule of evil, things that he has done since January 20th of 2017, and things he's still doing, how he is eradicating the rule of evil, not only in our nation, but the world. And I'm going to go through that with you. And, talked about this on the last podcast, just touched on it in my article that I wrote and read to you guys. But some of you are newer and don't know how this works. So I did a article tonight specifically on the federal income tax. The federal income tax. And I've said it over and over again. I've showed things through the years verifying it. But the fact that they are voluntary. No, we've never been taught that. Why the IRS was created, as the enforcer agency, because it's like, well, if we don't pay them, we go to jail. Yes, that's why the IRS was created, to be the enforcing of this voluntary. But it is voluntary. I'm going to break that down for you tonight. I'm going to break that down, as well as the 16th Amendment having never been ratified. I've done this before multiple times through the 5 years I've been with you, in many different podcasts and in many different segments. But tonight I decided, I put together an article to specifically just address these two things, because a lot of you don't know. A lot of you are new. And some of you may need a little refresher. And so I put that together. So we're going to be doing that and talking about a few different Q posts this evening in the different segments that I'll be doing and showing you. And the reason I show you these Q posts is I show you how future proofs past, like what was said way back then that is going on now, type of thing. It's a marvel. It really is. Or better said, it's biblical. I don't, unless this was all divinely inspired, it would never be happening. This is all of God. Divine means of God. So this whole Great Awakening, I mean, obviously God wanted us to know the truth, or he wouldn't have had the scriptures such as Luke 8:17. And actually, that same scripture, worded just a little bit differently, but is in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So God gave me Luke 8:17, but it's also in Matthew and Mark, worded very similarly, 3 different ears, maybe 6 different ears, 2, 4, 6, I'm 3 people. But at any rate, people take me literally so often. It's like, I have to spell it out. I'm talking about 3 people, but there are 6 ears. But they hear it just a little bit different. I should say not hear it differently, but record it a little differently, because, some of them say all, not everything. Others say nothing will be kept secret and hidden, just wording a little differently. But the bottom line is God made a promise, and his promise was that everything would be revealed that's been kept from us. So this is the Great Awakening. This is God's Great Awakening. That's what I call it, God's Great Awakening. So yeah, got 2 short videos I want to share with you. Might not be able to, I don't know if I'll get shut down on the one. Elon Musk, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. And that has to do with a couple of the Q posts, the Q drops I want to bring to you, because Elon Musk, a 3rd time, he's posted this particular video that is called WWG1WGA, which is where we go one, we go all. And this is the 3rd time he's posted it. So there's information in there he wants us to figure out. So I'm going to show you some of that tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to play the video through with the music. I just don't know. I'm not familiar with the tune, and I don't know if the tune is a tune somebody made up for this video, or if it's an actual song that they changed the words to. But if the algorithms pick it up as copywritten, then they will my video here. And we've had that happen to us before, haven't we? But not for that, but for other reasons. And the other is Spencer Pratt. Ooh, God is using him for such a time as this. And he is the person that ran for the LA mayor, in the LA mayor race. And he needed to be 1st or 2nd place out of 3 in order to make it to the midterms and be voted either him or the other one, 1st or 2nd place. Who's going to be the one that runs against the opponent or whatever? But at any rate, he was in 2nd place, and the 3rd place had nobody. Her name was Mitha Raman, I think is her name, Mitha. I might be saying that wrong, but anyway, she had hardly any votes. And then with the mail-in ballots, you know the playbook here. All of a sudden, all these mail-in ballots were like myth-a-ramen. So here's Spencer Pratt, here's Karen Bass, myth is known here. So here's, like, I'll say the top of my head is Karen Bass, and my nose is Spencer Pratt, and Mitha is down here at my chest. So the mail-in ballots start coming in. Oh, I gotta go up here where my nose is. And it's like, she's like getting votes. He's not getting any votes. She's not getting any votes. She's still up here because she's a liberal and it's LA and Orange County. But anyway, Myth is like, Karen Bass is still here. Didn't get any of those mail-in ballots, neither did Spencer. Mitha is now in second place, so more election fraud. Wow, Spencer Pratt, yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, posted a picture of him in the Oval Office with President Trump. Spencer Pratt is like he's a reality star with some LA, Southern California, whatever kind of reality TV show, which I never even heard of, nor did I watch. But people in that area knew who he was. But, President Trump did The Apprentice, and President Trump is bold, and doesn't speak to make friends. He speaks to get the job done, so to speak. And Spencer Pratt's like that too. Well, he just came out with another video, and he's taking this thing. I mean, he is exposing the fraud to the max. I mean, this latest video. So I'm going to show you that too. And I don't think there's any music on that, so I can play that for you. You just got to see it, because again, it all comes down to what's going on right now: the exposures and the disclosures, the declassification of many different areas. Latest being UFOs and UAPs, and there's much more coming down the pike on that too. But at any rate, the election fraud and all the proof that's out there, proof that the left and the liberals and the TDSers, they don't ever get to see. A good example of that, and I'm not going to cover that tonight or read you any of them, but just scrolling through my Facebook feed, there have been so many people writing and posting their pictures of the 250th birthday party on July 4th that the lamestream media, the fake news, propaganda, legacy, networks are like, nobody was there. It was, it's just lie after lie after lie after lie. So all of these people are rising up and writing their own, showing their own videos, showing their own pictures, and writing very detailed information that, if even one TDSer would read it, God wanted the one out of the 100. And it's the same with this. He wants everybody to have knowledge and be awakened. But they just lied and lied and lied about the 250th birthday party. And it's just hilarious to see all these people writing all of these truth bombs, these very detailed, not only people went there and took pictures. They knew like there would be lies told about this event. So they took pictures, and took videos of the reality, the truth, because mainstream media, of course, fake news is lying. All right. So Spencer Pratt, he's a warrior. So I'm going to say hi to a few folks, and then we're going to get right at it. And first in the house tonight is Ramona. Welcome. She says, hello, Nancy and everyone. And thank you, Ramona, from South Bend here in Indiana. So glad you are with us. My husband is listening. He says, hi, babe. Hello back at you. And he is listening in between Grubhub deliveries. So welcome and glad you are here. And Chris is joining us from South Dakota. She says hello from South Dakota, on the road back home again. Oh, I added the back to the song. On the road again. So welcome, Chris from South Dakota. Always good to see you here, my friend. I talked about you as I came on and went live. I don't know if you were here yet, but how long we've known each other. How long have we known each other? Do you remember? Like, do you remember the year? A long time ago. But anyway, I couldn't remember like exactly how long, but it just said that we've been friends and we've never met in person. We've tried a couple of times, but it hasn't worked out. But it's going to happen. I know it is. And Connie, she's with us as well, and she's coming from Kansas and says, hello, Nancy and friends from hot, humid Kansas. It's hot and humid here, too. I hate it. Ugh. Like I told you in the text, Connie. Connie's another one I met so many years ago. I mean, I don't think we've met in person, but we've met through business. And it's like we've just been connected for many, many, many years. And still are, and God is good. I love all the people that He brings, like He brings us together, those He wants together for such a time as this, even before that, leading into this. So, Connie, you be one of them, and welcome, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. And Nikki is joining us, and she says, good evening, Nancy. It's Nikki tuning in from Simpsonville, South Carolina. Glad to be with you online tonight, and I look forward to hearing you cover these important topics tonight. Thank you, Nikki, and it's so good to see you, and thank you as always for being here. And Diane is here from South Bend here in Indiana as well. Another friend that the Lord got me to meet because of someone I didn't know in Iowa. I won't tell the whole story, but it's amazing what God does. My husband and I were in Iowa back in 2022, and someone I didn't know that I met, when she found out where I was from, she said she had a friend in South Bend, Indiana, but it wasn't Diane, but it was someone else. So she connected that someone else with her and me, and then Diane was the friend with someone else. Only God can do that, So Diane and I are close friends, and I just love her so much. And so anyway, welcome, Diane. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. I'm so glad that God brought us together. And Pam, too. Look at this. It's like reunion night. Pam, I didn't know either. Met her through these podcasts. And her and her son Davis are here. So welcome, Davis. Welcome, Pam. And Pam and I have gotten so close. And she's from Shreveport, Louisiana. And it's just like friends getting together. But you're all here for the same reason. We are God's chosen for such a time as this. And so welcome, Pam, and welcome, Davis. So glad you're here. And Kathy is joining us from Dayton, Ohio. She says, I made it. Hello. And welcome, Kathy. And someone else who reached out because of these podcasts, and we've become friends. And it's just lovely. Lovely, lovely. And all of you who I don't know, and don't know me personally, but, if you do write me a comment, I always write back. And if you reach out to me on Facebook, you've got to let me know. Like, I don't get your message if we're not friends. I go into this other file. So if you are on Rumble and you leave me a Rumble video comment on my video there, or YouTube, and you let me know your username in either or platform, then I will know that you are not some weirdo reaching out to me for not so noble reasons. I don't connect with anyone unless I can connect dots. So you gotta let me know. Like if you reach out and I see your message in the other folder, I don't look there. So you gotta tell me in the comment in Rumble or in YouTube, like I sent you a message in Facebook, and this is my username in Facebook, and this, I'll know your username in YouTube or Rumble. And then I will go to that other file and I'll look for you. And then I will accept your friend request or answer your message, which will make us friends, and then we can be friends. But that's how it's got to happen. Otherwise, I don't know your message is there in the Facebook other file, and I assume it's one of those spammy little messages or other people and things like that. Catfishing, another thing people do. I don't know. But anyway, that's how it's got to go. So we are going to start with, I'm going to take a chance with Elon's video. And the only way I'll know if this is like troubling the algorithms here in Facebook, sometimes I'll get a little thing on my screen or whatever. I don't know if this song is famous or not, and that's why I don't know if the algorithms will be affected. But we're going to try it, and absolutely worst case scenario, if the video gets come back, because I will. I will have to log out and log back in and start again. So come back if that happens, but hopefully we'll get through this. So let me
sit and watch.
Let me get this started here. Turn the phone around for you guys. And Elon Musk, again, he posted this, and as Julie Donuts says, third time Elon has posted this awesome video. Are we missing something? There's so much in it. We're going to cover a couple of those things tonight. All right, so I'm going to start it over here.
If you can hear this from the other side, across this great quantum divide, don't get me wrong, now is the time to stay strong. So, with all of that I'll say, God bless the USA! God bless the USA! 250 years, and it's going on and on the edge of a forever or the edge of being gone. Is it midnight? Is it morning? Is it ruin? Is it time to rise? 250 summers gone by. So just go on and tell me those sweet lies, the kind as sweet as these Julys. Going on and going on. Light up, light, light, higher. Sweet man's going on, going on. Sweet man, going, going, gone. So please, just know that we can still rebuild. We can still make something better.
We can still make something better. Get some light on the subject. There I am again. All right, so just as I watched it again, and I know if it's the first time you guys have watched it, there's a lot going on, but I've watched it a few times. And just to tell you, as I watched it this time, I wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things that popped out at me. And so in the very beginning, she's talking about a storm coming in this, and she talked about free energy. So that was listed. Kennedy was showing multiple times, and red folders. If you don't know the significance of red folders, I've talked about them before on the podcast, but it is significant what's in the red folder at many different strategic points in this Great Awakening. So there were red folders everywhere. One of them was Obama being, like taken a hold of, and there was a red folder like in front of him, or in their hands, or in his hands. I don't remember which, but it was really, that's big. Of course, where we go one, we go all. Or WWG1, WGA, where we go one, we go all. Talked about the 250 years. I already mentioned, talked about Obama. Also, is it noon, or is it midnight, or is it morning? Timeline. I talk about the time all the time. Speaking of time, on this podcast. And, is it morning? Is it midnight? Is it morning? Da-da-da-da. George Washington, which reminds me, I saw the movie Young Washington, which I highly, 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 highly recommend. It is significant. It's significant about him in particular, but more than anything about even before this was a country, a nation. I mean, before our Declaration of Independence, before he was president. It was when he was a young boy, a little bit of growing up there, but then, his commitment at the time to the crown, because the crown was like who was in charge here in this country. And you were, and he was like a peasant type of guy. He wasn't anybody of importance. He was like lowest of the lowest in the eyes of the crown. And they didn't want him to serve, and he wanted to serve, and he was committed to serve, and he served. I mean, it's an amazing, and it really prefaced this. I'm going to say this and then I'll stop. But it really prefaced this, that he journaled everything. Because my first question would be, okay, how does anyone know this is? And we still don't know for sure. But the point that was made in this movie over and over again was he journaled everything. He journaled everything from the time he was a boy, a young person, and he journaled it. And so everything that ideally, like what he went through, and the whole point is what he went through for his country before it was even like our country, before it was land of the brave and the free and one nation under God. It was all before that. And the commitment and the lives lost and the reality that while they were fighting with guns and boots on the ground in a kinetic war, we're fighting a war too. And we kind of murmur and complain quite a bit. Like, hurry up, can we get the shot? Why is it taking so long? Whew, we're an impatient people. And I am too. I mean, we all are. But when you see it, at least for me, when I see a movie like this, I realize so very vividly, I guess, literally, maybe that's better, like, we don't even know what it's like to suffer. We've all suffered in our lives, and God said there will be trials, there will be problems in this life. We've all suffered in one degree or another, but when you see like a movie like Young Washington, just it brings it to light, like what we have to fight for. I mean, really fight for, not kinetically, but however God calls us in the battlefield, on the battlefield for such a time as this. But at any rate, so back to the Elon video, all of those things stood out. So let me show you just one thing that I looked up, where we go when we go all. So I went to the Q posts and I put in the search term, where we go one, we go all. And what happens when you do a search term, in QAlerts.app, QALERTS.app, they show you everything that comes up with that search term. So take a look. I got to make this a little smaller for the viewfinder here. So again, what is Elon telling us in this video? This is just maybe one thing he's telling us. When we do a search in QAlerts.app, you can see that I typed in, well, you might not be able to see it because it's so little, where we go one, we go all, WWG1, WGA, and I did a search. There were 221 posts found containing where we go one, we go all, and they're always highlighted in red on whatever post it is. 221 different posts that say where we go one, we go all. And I mean, I can scroll and scroll and scroll, and it'll take a while to get to the bottom. 221. I mean, look at how high up that is, right? Just go all the way down there. 221. Where we go one, we go all. So that's, I think, like one of the really bold in our faces. We could look at each one of these posts that say where we go one, we go all, and learn something. If we all have absolutely nothing to do and just want to look at the Q post or where we go one, we go all, we would learn a lot. Okay, so that's one thing. And another one, it comes from I gotta find it. Where is it? Okay. There's a little short video that sometimes I forget who sends me things. I think this came from Amy in Kentucky. If I'm trying to remember, I could be wrong because I know so many of you, and so many send me things. But at any rate, if it was Amy in Kentucky, thank you. And so it's this video here that it says Spooky Times, and this is a Rumble channel that is called ICONS 2020. You can see that down there. It's just a short little video clip, but it's about a part in okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is about a different Q post. Sorry, so many things swim around in my head because I have so much going on with these podcasts. But I'm going to show you this anyway right now. It is about a Q post, but it's not about the video. It's about something else. So I'm just going to show it to you. It is, see, I'm having a confusing moment right now. Like, did it cover anything in this video? We're going to watch it anyway, and I don't think it did. But just watch the video, and then I'll comment on it when we're done watching the video, because I'm confusing different Q posts right now. So bear with me. All right. So it's a real short video. It's a little over a minute, I think, is all it is. And spooky times. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Then it doesn't even play. Okay. Try it again. Start it over.
3 habits that may cause memory loss.
Okay, this is showing a stupid commercial.
No more time for BS.
Because
these habits, do you do it?
Your memory could be fake.
This is iCause. Okay, guys.
all right, so it showed it. I had this pulled up in a browser that I'm not signed into my Rumble channel, so that's why it showed an ad. Because otherwise, when I show something on Rumble, I don't have ads there. So that stupid ad is over now. I call them stupid ads because I hate ads. All right, so this guy is talking, and he just said, okay, guys. All right, so here we go.
This is the U.S. Homeland Security News channel. And it posted, time is short. If our sky turns red and the elites and politicians disappear, you need to be ready for some biblical shit to take place. We are near the end times. This was posted at 6:29 July 1st today. All right? Now, watch this. If you go to post 629 on the keyboard, it has one word, spooky. And you know why spooky? Because this is the skies over Caracas in Venezuela after the earthquakes. You can't make this up. Pass it around.
I think he just shows the red sky, goes back and forth and shows the red sky. And then I've got a couple of other things to show you about that. So so he's just doing that, and then it's going to be over. So if you go back to here,
629
on this
July.
on this post, who do you see? You see Batman, right? And this is the post that he was reading from, and you see an image of Batman. And he reads
First today. All right? Now, watch this. If you
okay, so Batman. All right. So you seen the vintage. You saw it was timestamped at 6:29. So he went to Q post. I've got so many windows open right now. He went to Q post 6:29. Ooh. Honestly. Okay. This is Q post 6:29. He showed you that. And I am in Q Alerts again. QAlerts.app if you want to do this yourself. So because it was timestamped at 6:29, that is why he went to this, and then it said spooky. Then he showed you the red skies, and that post he read you talked about red skies before. I'll go back to this window. Okay, so
to post,
he was reading this on this page here.
we are near the end times. This was posted at 6:29 July 1st today. All right? Now, watch this.
Okay, he already read it. I wanted you to hear it again because you might have missed what he said.
Red. If Security News, SS Homeland Security News channel.
Homeland Security News Channel, because we missed that the first time because I was probably talking or something. So it's the U.S. Homeland Security News Channel. Now he's going to read what it says. It's real small print, so listen carefully.
And it posted, "Time is short. If our sky turns red and the elites and politicians disappear, you need to be ready for some biblical shit to take place. We are near the end times." This was posted at 6:29.
Okay, so again, we looked at drop 629. And it says spooky. It is a picture of Batman. So I want to show you this picture. At the same time, there were two crazy people on top of the Empire State Building, like during the same, I don't know if it was July 1st or July 3rd or July 4th, but anyway, these two crazy people, and look at their costumes. Batman, like Batman, Batwoman, little head things with, like, it's Batman, real life Batman and Catwoman's message from the top of the Empire State Building. And then one other little thing I have for you is, just ignore all that because that's not what I'm showing you. Okay, and all right, this is the other one. It's going to open up somewhere. Okay, it's opening up right here. And continue as you'll see. Okay, this is the actual video. Go away. You know that. Okay, that's the actual video of Batman. Somebody posted this. Two people climb the Empire State Building with a banner reading, "When the power of love beats the power." When the power of love beats the love. Oh, jeez. Why did it do that? Okay, there's back again. This is in LinkedIn. That's where this is coming from. The link itself. Look at this. Okay. You guys dizzy yet? Because I am. Okay. This post on LinkedIn from this Frankie Oliver says, "Batman and Catwoman climb the Empire State Building to tell us when the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." So that's what this sign says here. When the power of love beats the power, when the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace. So, all right, all of that to say it's all connected. The reason I'm showing you this stuff is it may seem like just irrelevant stuff, but it's all connected. You know, there's something that comes on, you know, the Homeland Security page, and it's talking about red skies, and Venezuela has red skies after the earthquake, and then it's talking about we're at the end, and it has a picture of Batman, you know, in this post, and then there's a Batman and a Catwoman that climb the Empire State Building, and there's a Q post for the same time, 629, that says spooky, and all of this is quite spooky. It's all connected, and it's all part of the movie and part of the plan, and it's just what I love about it is they give us this stuff to, like, encourage us and to show us that yes, everything is connected. And I'm not going to find everything that's out there, and you're not going to find everything that's out there, but there are lots of us's out there looking. So this one person where I showed you that little video, and that's, I think, what came from Amy in Kentucky, if I remember right. She sent it to me, so she's looking, and you know, all of us working together to figure these things out. We're all trying to figure it all out, and not that we have any specific answers based on this, but it gives us peace of mind and security knowing that everything is connected. So let's go back. Okay, from the video, going back to Elon's video, I'm going to, I don't know if I can find it. I've got something. I'm not playing it again. All right, I've got to go to my bookmarks. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you from Elon's video Like all the people that are doing something. Like there's lots of us's out there. That's what I was just saying. So about Elon's video, these are just some of them. I saved some of them, some of the posts about it. So let me see, that's the first one or not? Yes. All right. So this one here, I don't know who Jordan Crowder is, but he posted, Elon has shared this video multiple times. There seems to be some urgency here. What are they trying to tell us? I've transcribed all of the lyrics. Isn't that cool? Somebody transcribed all of the lyrics. Now, we don't have time to go through all of these lyrics. Although it might be interesting to go through all these lyrics. I've read through them, and they are interesting. But this person put all of the lyrics down so other people can kind of try to figure things out too. And then Santa Surfing posted, Elon has posted this video 3 times, it's so powerful, talks about free energy, like I mentioned, freedom, life back in the good old days, portals, she picked up on portals, Trump going through a portal, so there was something that I even missed, Trump going through a portal, red envelopes, which I mentioned, Obama getting hauled off, which I mentioned, where we go one, we go all. Okay, so that's what Santa Surfing posted. And then this person, account, A Way with Words, Sumru, whatever, an excellent analysis of the iconic video released by Elon Musk on July 4th, now watched by over 1 million viewers. I agree that it seems to portray our past as some form of directed and controlled movie and our blissful ignorance about that fact. Now, though, it seems to say we have a clear choice and much more agency to really decide our own future. And someone else posted this one this morning. We went through the Elon video and broke it all down. They actually did, it's a 2-hour and 26-minute video. They broke it down step by step. So this is out of the Justice Cometh channel in X. So if you really wanted to really get into the decoding and stuff, they would do a great job in helping you with that. And then this one is talking what I showed you guys on the where we go one, we go all, doing, finding a search term on it. And so in the video itself, oh gosh, I don't know if I can find it because I want to show it to you. It's so powerful, but I don't know where it was at in the video. But I'm going to mute it, and I'm going to see if I can find it because okay, it's right there. Yay, I found it quick. Okay. Now, talking about the storm. Okay, right here. Oh, I love this. Look at that. It says in the background there, 4559, July 1st of 2020. Well, anybody that knows anything about Q and Q drops is going to pick up on this because every Q drop has a number and a date. So what do I do? What did others do that came across this? Okay, I go to Q drop. Here it is. All right, there it is. 4559, and okay, there it is. 4559, and woo, what's the date? July 1st, 2020. 4559, July 1, 2020. Elon's video. Okay? No coincidences here. This one I'm going to read you because this, they're pointing out absolutely directly. 4559 from July 1st of 2020. So what does this say? There was a time when our children stood at attention and with pride put their hand on their heart and in one united voice recited the Pledge of Allegiance. There was a time when strength and honor meant something. There was a time when standing for our flag meant something. There was a time when our heritage was taught with pride and respect. There was a time when respect was given to those who served, bled, and died to protect and defend our freedom. There was a time when we were grateful. There was a time when our accomplishments meant something. There was a time when these United States of America, one nation under God, was united. There was a time when these United States of America, one nation under God, was united under the American flag, a flag that was carried in battle by brave patriots as a symbol of freedom and justice for all, no matter race, religion, or background. A beacon of hope when it was flowing, a mark of respect to their memory, to those who willfully sacrificed their lives to defend. There was a time when we, the people, decided our future. There was a time when we, the people, had a voice. There was a time when we, the people, were united and strong. There was a time when the media was free from political bias and corruption. There was a time when our elected leaders stood their ground, dug in, and defended those they represented. How many men and women in uniform are currently serving on the front lines abroad, only to look back in horror to see the homeland on fire? Remember, this was 2020. Remember the date. Remember, it was July 1st of 2020. They were burning our cities down. What does the word patriot mean to you? Land of the free, home of the brave. Now is not the time to be complacent. Will you answer the call? Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. This was written by Ronald Reagan. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. For anybody that tells you or suggests to you, or if you're still of the mindset that Q is not real, or Q is some little goofy thing out there, I just showed you multiple proofs that everything is connected, and it goes back to Q, and everything connects from that to where we are now. Whether it's a little video clip talking about a red sky and Batman, on the roof in this video clip, and some crazy person and crazy woman, crazy man and woman get up on the Empire State Building on the same flipping day, or day of, or day before, or after, whatever it was, and they're in Batman costumes, and then you see on this video 4559, just random number in the background, July 1st of 2020, and there's just happens to be a July 1st of 2020 post. That's the 4,559th Q drop. If this hasn't convinced you, or at least broken through a little bit to help you to understand that Q is real and Q is good and Q is a military intelligence operation, and Q plus, just mentioning it, there is so much fact to base all of this now. There wasn't multiple years ago. But this Elon post, this Elon video, now posted 3 times, it's like, people, you gotta get it. You gotta get it. And it's just like calm after calm after calm in this video that he posted now 3 times. So if you hadn't seen it, I'm glad you did. If it blows your mind, all these things that are connected, even if you don't understand yet what red folders mean, don't worry about it. Just know they do. They mean a lot. And they were, go to Elon Musk's channel, or just do any search on X or Telegram and do it for Elon video. And you'll find this video if you want to watch it again. It's Elon Musk posted it. You could go to his channel. It'll be blue checked and verified, his channel. But if you just do a search in any social media platform, I don't know about Facebook, but on X, on True Social, on Telegram, you'll find it. And hopefully you'll find it even in Facebook. But all right, so from here, we're going to go to Spencer Pratt's video, which is the election fraud being exposed, more being done. And again, we the people have to expose it. This cannot come from behind the Oval Office desk of the president. It doesn't matter who the president is. It has to come from us. And Spencer Pratt is a one of us. He's just a guy that got fed up. His home was burned down in the fires in the Palisades a year ago. you know, he's just like, LA is his home. LA is burning. LA is just, I loved Los Angeles. I loved going to Southern California. I loved everything about it. I wanted to live there for so many years. I wanted to live there. Now I'm so grateful I never didn't live there because of how it went, you know, and how would that have maybe affected my mind? God protected me from being in a place where my mind might have been more susceptible to being brainwashed and mind controlled. He had a plan for my life for such a time as this, and LA did not include it. San Diego did not include it. Southern California and Orange County did not include it. And if I wanted to be, I wanted to live down there. I loved it there. My son was in the Navy. He was down there. My daughter, her fiance, was in the Marines. I visited there all the time. I was like, one of them will have to stay here. One of them out of two have to at least stay. Who wouldn't want to stay in California? And her husband wanted to come back to Milwaukee, and my son wanted to come back to South Bend, Indiana. Go figure. So nobody stayed there. Now I'm grateful that they didn't stay there because of what happened there and where their minds would be right now, potentially, had they stayed there. Because it's, you know, the brainwashing and mind control is just brutal. All right, so going to Spencer Pratt. Let's go to Spencer Pratt. And he is doing something, and he's a We the People guy. And he is... Oh, man, I love it. And the fact that he met with President Trump, something is cooking. Something big is cooking. You just don't get invited to the Oval Office unless something big is cooking. All right, going to turn this around. We're going to watch Spencer Pratt. And I don't think there's any music in this one, so we don't have to worry about that.
Sit and watch that vile commie mayor sit on the wrong side of our founding fathers' desk to try and lecture us about our own history. Notice how the communist always attacks your history. The communist must attack your history. Why? Because history is what anchors you. It's what makes us attached to something. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. History breeds an almost irrational attachment to things, an attachment that is more powerful than anyone can imagine. Erasing history is how you demoralize people, how you unmoor them and detach them from their society so you can take it from them and rewrite it in your image. Think of your country like a home. What makes your home special? It's not the marble countertops or the expensive furniture or the fancy appliances. It's the memories you have there. That backyard is where we got married. That living room rug is where our son took his first step. Hey, don't touch that. That was his first teddy bear. It doesn't matter how torn and tattered that thing is. You will never get rid of it. And you will fight anyone who tries to take it away. Why? Because you have history with it. You ever buy a new home? Remember those first few months? Even the first few years there, it doesn't feel like home. It could be a million times nicer than the crappy apartment you came from, but it doesn't feel like home for a long time because you don't have history there. It's easy to knock down some walls, change the floor plan. If you have no memories to attach you to it, it's just wood and drywall. Who cares? Get rid of it. Memories make it a home, even the bad ones. Hey, remember when Dad hit his head on the rafter in the attic and we spent all night in the ER? That's the avocado tree I fell out of and broke my first bone. Isn't it weird how even the bad memories make us cherish a place? It's not like we long for those bad times, but bad times are part of what makes us stronger, a part of what makes us who we are. How can you resent those memories without fundamentally resenting who you are? History is so important to humans that even bad memories anchor us to our home. And that's what the communist always starts with, the bad memories. Oh, we could get rid of that little story. We can knock down that statue. We can change the name of that street. That's a bad memory from our history. You don't want that memory hanging around. You're not a bigot, right? And slowly but surely, this wall comes down, then that wall gets sledgehammered. The rafter where Dad hit his head, that's gone. The rug where your son took his first step, that's gone. The gash in the wood floor where you stomped the glass on your wedding ceremony, that's gone and replaced with shiny vinyl planks. And now you've got a brand new home with no memories. Now what? Do you care what they do with it? Do you care what color they paint the walls? Nah. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I have no attachment to it. I have no memories with that. You love your home because of the memories you have there. And that's why the communist always must destroy your memories, destroy your history. If the communist wishes to take your home, he must first destroy your memory of of it so he can erase your attachment to it and demoralize you. Mao destroyed what he called the four olds: old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. You call them old, it makes them sound bad. You don't want that old thing, get rid of it. But it is fundamentally human nature to cherish your history. We crave learning about our history, where we came from, who our ancestors were. That's human. But communism is an evil, anti-human religion, so it must destroy what makes us human. The communist destroys your history so he can take your home and rebuild it in his image. That's why it's your patriotic duty to celebrate today unashamed. It's okay to love America. Not only is it okay to love America, it's necessary to love America. We are the only bulwark against tyranny on this earth. When Europe descends into madness time and time again, it's our sons who cross the oceans to fight and die for freedom and human dignity. We don't let evil people destroy our history and rewrite it in their image. This is Independence Day. It's not just a number on the calendar. Don't say Happy 4th. That's commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
We say Independence Day. Today we celebrate the men who reclaimed a beautiful slice of this earth and claimed it for God, for the values of freedom and rugged independence. Our history is messy. Our history is violent. Fuck yeah, it is. And that's why we love it. We aren't cowards. We don't turn our backs on the painful memories because they make us who we are. Be proud of our country, damn it. America is the birthplace of every great invention of the last 250 years. Like literally everything. Airplanes, spaceships, internet, telephones. As a country, we are batting 1,000. Not only is it a miracle that this radical experiment in self-governance even survived past 1776, but we are the champions of the world. Be proud of that. Be proud of your history. Millions of your ancestors fought and died to preserve it. Kami Mamdani's ancestors never bled for this country. He has no history here, so he has no attachment to our home. He has no place to rewrite our history and lecture us about what our country stands for. So celebrate today. Show some American pride. Honor your history. Raise your flag. Raise a finger and say, fuck you, communists. This is our home, and you can't have it. Today we celebrate our Independence Day. God bless America.
It's a powerful, powerful video. It is not the video I thought I was showing you, but it is a powerful, powerful video. I thought I was bringing up the election fraud one, and that's okay because I can just go to that now because you got a real flavor of what I think is even more important than anything is all of us realizing, as I try to bring forth to everybody, every podcast, is how close we had come, and still would be to losing this country if God had not intervened. I think God started intervening a whole long time ago, but specifically in November, on November 4th of 2016, when Hillary was supposed to win. I mean, the fix was in. She was supposed to win. She even said it. I was supposed to win. But God intervened and President Trump did. Now, a lot of things certain people did in this military intelligence operation brought that to fruition. But it was only because God was behind that it could work. That there was divine intervention in that. And that's what started this ball rolling in bringing not only this country, but every country to be delivered from the evil and the corruption. I saw a comment from Susan, who joins us and is one of Seeking Truth Always family, and she had a comment that said choking in from Wyoming, but can't stay, catch up later. I want everybody to, those that are prayer warriors, to pray for Wyoming, because there's some very devastating fires. There's an Cheyenne, Wyoming, there's Colorado, a place called Aspen Acres fire. There's fires out there. So Susan is our family in our Seeking Truth Always family. And so if you're a prayer warrior, please say a prayer for Wyoming and for the people of Wyoming. I don't know how closely Susan is to this, but I'm sure the fact she said she's choking in Wyoming. So please keep her in your prayers, as I will be in mine. So I just wanted to bring that up because I saw that comment while the video was playing, and Kimberly joined us from Nipissing, Ontario, Canada. So Canada is in the house, and welcome, Kimberly. So glad you're with us tonight as well. Okay, I'm going to still show you the video about election. I think, if I can find it really quick. Okay, yeah, I found it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you this.
4 hours ago, Spencer Pratt.
Okay, Benny Johnson did a video on it that I watched earlier today, which brought my attention to the newest video. And so I'm gonna just show you this. I could actually fast forward. I guess we don't need his commentary, just to save a little bit of time. But this is about the election fraud, and this is what he's bringing. He's bringing out to everybody. And he also, I think it was before this video dropped, that he met with President Trump. All right, so I'm going to turn this around. I think this is the beginning of it. And I'm going to make it smaller and fit in the window. I wasn't expecting to show from this browser, but we're going to get the job done, because I think it's important we all know what's going on out there in regarding the election fraud, because you get probably hit with people all the time, as I do, that, oh, that's not real and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I'd say it is. Again, Benny Johnson brought this to us. It's out there everywhere, but you can go to Spencer Pratt's channel as well, because that's where he went to play it. But I'm just going to go ahead and play it from here, because I already had it in my history. So let's hear what Spencer Pratt had to say.
Get cheated? You did. Here we go.
In judicial ethics, the mere appearance of potential fraud is disqualifying. Same goes here. Whether or not there is widespread fraud occurring, there certainly could be, and it doesn't matter how many times you scream, there's no widespread fraud. A lot of people believe there is, and there's no way to actually validate it. This isn't just about whether or not fraud is swinging the election. The appearance of fraud already is swinging the election. People rightly have zero faith in this janky, inefficient system. They feel like their vote isn't being counted. They feel like illegal ballots are being cast, and they're not wrong to worry about it. There's literally no safeguards in place to prevent that from happening, and way too many openings for it to occur on a massive scale. You all saw how it was neck and neck with Karen Basul on election night, nearly double digits ahead of Nithya, just as the polling predicted.
Rahman fighting tears on election night, trailing Spencer Pratt by roughly 40,000 votes and about 10 percentage points.
I dominated the in-person vote. I smashed Nithya on the mail-in ballots, too. She was crying on election night. It was over. Then a few days later, suddenly Nithya started overperforming as they continued to accept ballots 7 days after the election.
But days of counting mail-in ballots have changed the map.
I'm so grateful.
Rahman has now erased a 40,000 vote deficit and moved ahead of Pratt by roughly 3,000 votes, a net swing of more than 43,000 votes.
43,000 votes, which just happens to be the exact number of homeless people on the streets in LA. They assured everyone that this is normal because for some reason that they can't explain, Democrats overwhelmingly vote by mail.
There's a historical phenomenon in national voting called the Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
What we were calling a Red Mirage.
The Red Mirage.
Red Mirage. Yeah. This term was coined because about some swing states count votes, usually favoring Republicans early.
Then it becomes an advantage for Democrats later in the evening and then into the next morning.
You expect to see the Republican with a lead, but it's not really a lead.
Democrats vote in higher numbers by a mail-in ballot. Historically, Democrats vote in higher numbers by mail-in ballots.
But not all Democrats, just the ones who are voting for the third place candidate, the one candidate who really needed the votes. Don't forget, there were 2 Democrats in the race, but for some reason, only the third place Democrat who needed the votes saw a disproportionate spike in votes several days after the election. Plus, multiple studies have shown that mail voting doesn't provide an advantage to either party. It's a myth! The media will say that claims of fraud here are without evidence. Keep in mind, an anomalous statistical spike like this is evidence of fraud. Ask any forensic accountant. It may not be necessarily proof of fraud, but it is certainly evidence of fraud. But forget the late ballots. Just because the vote swing coincidentally matched the specific Lhasa count of homeless people on the streets, just because NGOs that Nithya cuts checks to were hoarding ballots, just because hundreds of thousands of dead people and ex-residents who left California were still on the voter rolls, doesn't mean anyone is taking those loose ballots and filling them out. First off, it's against the law. And we all know if it's against the law, it doesn't happen. Secondly, we have signature verification. Everyone has to sign their ballot, and a computer checks your signature. Well, except some voters can't sign, so they carved out a rule where you can just make a mark on the ballot, and a witness can sign on your behalf. It can be an X or a scribble or even a happy face, as long as a witness signs off on it. And don't forget, once they separate the ballot from the envelope, there's zero way to trace it back to the ballot to check if a sudden tranche of votes that swung predominantly to one candidate had come from a bunch of ballots with the happy faces in the signature box. The DSA instructs their ballot harvesters to go door to door and tell them to vote for Nithya Raman and even help them fill in the bubble for their preferred socialist candidates. This is explicitly illegal. A ballot harvester can't tell you how to vote, and they certainly can't help you fill out the ballot. The laws don't matter if you have no mechanism in place to prevent the crime from occurring in the first place. There is this misnomer being parroted even by staunch critics of California's rigged voting system, saying there's nothing you can do because this is all legal in California. It's not legal. Even by California's own ridiculous laws, all this stuff is still illegal. They've simply removed all the mechanisms to catch the fraud and prevent it from happening. It's like a bank heist, but California has made a law that you can't lock the bank vault. You're not allowed to have security cameras, and you can't count the money inside the vault. Robbing the bank is still 100% illegal, but there's no way to stop it from happening. Now here's the smoky backroom dealing. 5 days before my election, Gavin Newsom signed a ridiculous law that literally banned federal and independent authorities from investigating vote fraud or overseeing elections to monitor for fraud during the counting process.
That's why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past.
That's like banning the bank from having security cameras. Now, the timing of this was deliberate. He knows this won't hold up in court, but he did it so close to the election day, he knew the courts wouldn't be able to overturn it in time for the election. It's truly like going up against the casino. The deck is so stacked against you, you never really stand a chance. You could play if you choose, but the house will never lose. So now, in California, you can loot $950 of merchandise. You can knowingly infect someone with HIV, but if you try to prevent vote fraud,
you will be prosecuted.
How can you secure the money if you can't lock the vault? How can you catch the robbers if you're not allowed to monitor the vault? And how can you even identify if the vault were even robbed in the first place if you can't even count the money? This is what California has done with the elections. Unsolicited ballots going into open mailboxes and NGOs and parking lots. Bank vault is wide open. No signature required, no ID required, no way to ID the robbers. And the beauty of their rigged system is they can have all the pageantry of this public ballot counting center. Hey, come on down. It's open to the public. Anyone can come watch so you can see just how kosher our system is.
We are inside LA County's massive ballot processing center. When Assistant United States Attorney arrived on scene to observe the process and ask questions.
All the fraud that does occur happens long before the ballots even hit this building. People have been pushing me to demand a recount. Why? You could recount these anonymous ballots 100 times. You'll get the same exact result. I have no doubt that they are doing a flawless job of accurately counting every single ballot in here with robotic precision. The fraud isn't here. It's here on Skid Row, where homeless people are paid a couple bucks for their ballots.
They give you $2 to vote? Yeah, in the street. Did they come down here and pay you to vote?
Yes.
They told you who to vote for? since I'm voting your way, can I get a plate? You know what I mean?
It's here, where socialist street animals go door to door and violate the ballot harvesting laws. People bring up the old communist adage often attributed to Stalin, saying, it's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. No, this is the modern era of fraud. They've gotten wise. The modern communist agrees with the old communist, but just the first part. It doesn't matter who votes. It doesn't matter if it's a drug zombie being paid for their ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a DSA socialist street animal filling out your ballot. It doesn't matter if it's a blue-haired intern at a Nithya Raman-funded NGO filling out the ballots. The bank vault is wide open. The cameras have been removed, and there's no way to count the money. Now, for those of you who wanted me to fight the election, for those of you who thought I was quitting, or I was bought off to step aside and quietly disappear, I'll remind you, there's a smart way to handle these things and a dumb way. Evidence is not proof. I don't say things without proof. Now, anyone saying that there's no evidence of fraud is lying. There's tons of evidence, and I was the one who got it. All those videos that you saw of homeless people admitting that they were paid for their vote, where do you think they came from? Immediately after the big spike of votes came in for Nithya, I sent my team down to Skid Row to collect evidence. We were warned by some very well-connected people that this was happening, so we acted on it immediately. But if you want to end this fraud, doing protests and bitching about stolen elections won't get you anything. You need the fraudsters to start catching charges. For that to happen, you need proof. That's what investigators do. They turn evidence into proof with a robust investigation. You think it's a coincidence that 20 FBI agents suddenly descended on Skid Row to investigate vote fraud? Why do you think they were there? You don't get evidence by going to rallies or storming the ballot processing center. You get evidence by doing real work. And the first rule of criminal investigation is you do not talk about it. Here's the reality. It's too late for my campaign. A lot of people refuse to accept that, but I can. I told you all to get your ass out and vote. Tell your friends to vote. Vote enough to beat the cheat. We didn't beat it, but that doesn't mean I quit. I don't know how to quit.
He never knew when to quit.
My goal isn't to try and salvage the campaign, just like my advocacy in the wake of the Palisades fire wasn't about my own home. It's too late for me. This is about you. This is about the next one. It's about exposing this corrupt, rigged system and changing it for the next election. If I have to be the kamikaze pilot to finally get this fixed, so be it. There's a right way and a wrong way to do this. The right way isn't easy, but it ends with commie animals and handcuffs. I will restore faith in our elections if it's the last thing I do. And to all you fraudsters out there, we've been watching you, and justice is coming.
The messaging here is just pitch perfect. You don't have to prove the fraud. They make it impossible to prove. You need to prove the systems are fraudulent. And again, we sound like a broken record here, but 7 months ago, we went out to LA and showed the homeless industrial complex rigging elections. We laid this all out, how they would harvest votes, how it was impossible to track who's a legitimate voter, and how they were going to steal whatever election they wanted to using LA homeless industrial complex. I've never seen anyone this talented at communicating these primary issues to the future of our republic. Critical. And that is why so many people...
That's the picture in the Oval Office, the back side of Spencer Pratt right there. In the meeting that he had in the Oval Office. I think this is Dan Scavino. That is my guess. Susie Wiles was over here. I don't know if he showed the whole picture, but at any rate, that might not be Dan Scavino, but I think it is. It looks like him, like his shape of head and hair from the back. But anyway, this is in the Oval Office with President Trump.
Saying perhaps Spencer Pratt will be on the other side of that desk someday. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's your boy Benny. Keep up.
Okay, so powerful video. I took the extra time tonight to show you that one because I had every intention of showing you the other one as well. But in my mind, one was the other one. So anyway, we do what we got to do to get it all as much as I can to you guys. And it's all coming. I mean, it's all coming front and center. It's all, again, I say it's like the snowball rolling down the hill. It is the exposures and the disclosures and the declassifications, all of the truth is coming. God said it would in his word. God is doing for a time, for such a time as this, our time, our lifetimes. And multiple times I've shared with you on this podcast that we were literally chosen for such a time as this. It wasn't our parents, it wasn't our grandparents, it wasn't even people like that we know that have gone before us, maybe even in the same age group as us, whatever the case may be. We are still here, and that is divine of God. We are still here. He's called me to do this. He's called you to do whatever it is in your life that he's called you to do. Maybe it's just simply talking to a neighbor over the back fence or something. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe it's just being somebody that exhibits hope, and in a time when so many people are that don't know what's going on and don't understand, they're feeling pretty hopeless. Or maybe they're just full of anger, and they're full of just what the enemy puts in people because of the brainwashing and the mind control. They're angry, and maybe you're that light on the hill for those people. You know, you've got joy in your heart in spite of what you see around or what they see, and they wonder, you know, and we know the love of the Lord. That's number one, that they know who Jesus is and just even know who God is. A lot of people, President Trump calls them godless communists. You know, the people that are out there controlling the minds and the behaviors and the thoughts of people we know and love. So we all have a place in this. We were all chosen for this. And Spencer Pratt was clearly chosen for such a time as this to do what he's doing. It's not just about LA, it's about all of it. But LA, there's like a focus on LA because of the recent mayoral election and what happened there. And so, with that being said, we're going to move to the articles that I put together that I want to share with you guys. And the first one that I'm going to share with you is, let's talk about, we're talking about the godless communists. Let's talk about all that Trump is doing for such a time as this. That is ending the rule of evil in this world. And the list is, I think I've just got the tip of the iceberg with the list, and I have so many things on this list. You listen to what I'm sharing with you, and some of it maybe you're not aware of yet. Maybe you're not aware at all of certain things. But just listen. Some of it you'll recognize as, oh yeah, he did do that, or yeah, he is doing that. But when you hear it all together, it's like, oh my gosh, we are so blessed, and God has put the person, not the perfect person, not a perfect person in place to lead this war of good versus evil and to be the face of the military operation, but he's chose the person perfect for the job. And this is what he's done so far. Trump ending the rule of evil. He ended the pandemic, which was supposed to last for 10 years. He prevented the Great Reset, which was supposed to enslave all of mankind everywhere in the world. Trump prevented the destruction of America, which started with Barack Obama's 8 years and was to be completed under Hillary Clinton's 2 terms. Trump arrested Jeffrey Epstein and ended his operations to sexually blackmail influential leaders. He was behind that. He was the first one to even do a what's it called? I don't remember. A legal document about Jeffrey Epstein down in Southern California, when all the other people that are in the upper echelon of wealth and connected to Epstein, were protecting Epstein. Trump, way back, gave them evidence. I mean, he completely banned him from Mar-a-Lago because at an event, he was inappropriate with young women. And so Trump banned him and marched him out. Didn't say, hey, security, come here, march him out. No, Trump did it himself. He's instrumental from the beginning of bringing Epstein to justice. Trump ended mass censorship and restored free speech since 2017. He arrested multiple heads of global drug cartels, and he ended the world's greatest drug operations. He removed the USA from the World Health Organization, the WHO, effectively preventing their plan for world domination. He is putting an end to the United Nations. We talked about this on the last podcast and what Janet Ossebaard brings to light in the sequel to The Fall of the Cabal about the UN and the evil and the corruption and all that they're doing as part of the plan to reduce the population of the world. He's putting an end to the United Nations, which will stop the agenda for that one world government. Trump exposed the mind control of the news media and began the deprogramming process for all of humanity with the term fake news. It just started like unwinding all the manipulation in our minds and all of the lies that we've been told by the media all of our lives. And he started saying fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news. And at first it was like, hey, that's kind of funny. But eventually it's like, like that isn't, wait a minute, that didn't happen though. Wait a minute. Trump is the one that started that after he came down the escalator in 2015 saying fake news. And it was, we have all been programmed. We had been or have been programmed all of our lives. And he started the deprogramming process. Trump empowered the rise of alternative news media. People like me that's out here. I wouldn't be here if Hillary had been elected. There would be nobody here if Hillary would have been elected in 2016 for the year 2017. He empowered the rise of alternative news media that counters the lies of the fake news, propaganda, legacy, mainstream media. He exposed election fraud. He's constantly, Trump repeats himself all the time. I get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. You ever hear that from anyone? Maybe you felt it yourself. There's a reason he repeats things. It doesn't, in marketing, somebody has to hear a message about whatever it is, a refrigerator they might be wanting to buy, or a car, or, a piece of exercise equipment, or a membership somewhere. But statistically, someone has to hear about something 7 times before it connects or before they're ready to make a buying decision in marketing. And that's how Trump gets getting people to a point where there might be some breakthrough. It has to be repeated over and over again. He exposed election fraud. He kept saying it. It was a rigged election. 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 You got to keep saying it. He's busy making elections worldwide, not just in this nation, worldwide, safe and honest again. Trump exposed the deep state cabal organized crime syndicate for the whole world and started day one of his first term eradicating the entire deep state cabal and the swamp worldwide. And my acronym for the swamp is the Satanic World Affiliation of Mafia Pedophiles. The only reason I don't have cabal in that is there's no C in swamp. So I've replaced it with mafia, which is synonymous. But he exposed the deep state cabal from day one of his first term, eradicating it. He launched a worldwide war against child trafficking and human rights abuse, crimes against humanity. He started that. Literally, he was the first president ever to write legislation and executive action to stop trafficking, to stop the trafficking, the trafficking rings and so forth in our nation, but also worldwide. He brought back faith and prayer and the Bible. He brought it back into the public buildings and society. He talks openly about Jesus. He talks openly about God and faith. He brought that back to this nation and then rededicated this nation as one nation under God later last month. It was last month that he did that. President Trump exposed the deep corruption of the CIA, the FBI, and the Department of Justice, and many other three-letter agencies. He ended the brainwashing of children by abolishing the Department of Education. I just had a conversation today with someone about some things going on with parochial private schools, and they're trying to enter the LGBTQ agendas into like the private schools, the ones that would be considered, Christian schools or Catholic schools or Baptist schools or whatever, that they have to allow the LGBTQ in Indiana, if this is an Indiana thing that's happening right now. And I said, I believe that Trump will do something to end that. But the Department of Education, he's done so much to clean that up so the kids are not brainwashed by the fake news that are in the textbooks. Trump will restore quality education by offering the Free American Academy to the youth. Trump defunded the LGBTQ and the transgender agenda, and he is restoring healthy families in America. Are you tired of listening to this yet? Well, don't be, because the list goes on. These are the things he's done since January 20th of 2017. He never stopped for a 4-year period with a fake president. He was always the commander-in-chief of the military, and this is a military operation, and there was a continuity of government plan in place. This didn't stop for those 4 years, but things had to be shown through that 4 years, because sometimes you can't tell the people, you have to show them. And nobody would have believed how this country could have gotten to the position it was in with open borders unless they saw it with their own eyes, or they saw the LGBTQ and the satanic rituals and all of the blatant Satanism in our faces. They wouldn't have believed it unless they saw it. He's ending the poisoning of the food and restoring healthy nutrition. President Trump ended the mass invasion of illegals, which was supposed to destroy America once and for all. He exposed the fraud, and he ended the worldwide funding of the deep state evil activities through USAID. He exposed and ended massive theft and fraud of trillions of American dollars. He is putting an end to the IRS illegal taxation. He created the External Revenue Service and will restore wealth to the American people. And one avenue to do that is with the tariffs. He ended the satanic rule in Hollywood, and he appointed Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone as his eyes in Hollywood. President Trump empowered millions of patriots worldwide to oppose the deep state and the New World Order. He openly confronts the globalists at the World Economic Forum and puts an end to the nefarious and evil agendas. President Trump ended the climate change scam, which was supposed to be the excuse for global tyranny, and he ended the childhood vaccine mandates and reduced the vaccines from 70 to 9 in children, babies, from in vitro to, I think it's something like 2 years old, maybe 4 years old. And this is just the short list of what Trump has done to end the rule of evil. And that includes debt slavery as well. Now, in addition to ending this rule of evil, President Trump is also putting America first in many other areas, and one such area is the sovereign wealth fund. American citizens are literally becoming shareholders in American success from their birth. The now implemented sovereign wealth fund is also in process of replacing federal taxes. The coming generations will be born with a pathway to success instead of like all of us that were born into debt, slavery, and federal taxes. Things that we never thought were even possible are now happening much faster than anybody could have ever dreamed of. Trump does not exaggerate when it comes to making America great again and putting America first. He knows exactly what he is doing, and he says what he means, and he does what he says. And that is why I have called him our promises made, promises kept president from his first term in office, and I still do to this day. And this article I just shared with you is just one example and is just the beginning for all of us and for all of our children and all of the generations to come. A new golden age, as President Trump calls it, is happening real time before our very eyes, and the best truly is yet to come. And I just picked a few pictures that I really liked. He is my president. Fight, fight, fight. And this one here, it's just somebody created a meme with President Trump over here with all of these other presidents or people that made a difference in this nation. So I hope that gives you, I'm going to say, when you're dealing with others that are maybe suffering from TDS, this segment in my podcast gives you some bullets, some bullets from your truth gun, I guess, about President Trump. Because he truly, I mean, you just look at that list and you listen to it, and then you listen to the lunacy of those, the liberal and the left and the TDSers and all of the things they say about him. Just like they lied about the 250th birthday party and that there was nobody there. They lie about him all the time because they don't know better. That's all they hear. And it is, it is the truth they need to hear. So that's why I shared that segment on this podcast. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and watch part 7, very, very important part 7 of the sequel to The Fall of the Cabal. It is giving the truth. Janet Ossebaard is sharing the truth about more about the United Nations and the NGOs, the non-government organizations that in the name of charity work, which is anything but, she exposes that. I want you to know, for those that are new, that Janet Ossebaard passed away in 2022 after making parts 1 through 10 of The Fall of the Cabal, and after putting together this 28-part series to educate all of us in regard to the truth of what has been going on in our lives, our entire lives, and what is going on with these 3-letter agencies in places like the UN or the NGOs and so forth. It is, when she passed away, it was officially said that at her own hands she passed away. However, what many do not know is that not long before that, she had written in her own writing and stated she is not suicidal, and if anything happens to her, it was not her. So, be that as it is, it was declared officially a suicide, but she is another of many. There was a target on her back for being a truth teller. And I can't thank her enough. And her partner, Cyntha Koeter. She still goes on to this day. She's made a series for children on the fall of the cabal, but something that kids can handle, to explain, like, in a way a child can figure out, telling the truth to these children instead of the lies that they're told in school. And so anyway, Cyntha Koeter goes on and has stayed steady in exposing the truth, and does to this day. And so we have a lot to be grateful for her too. But for both of them, I'm grateful because it helped me in my journey. So this is a 34-minute video, and when we're finished with this video, we will, of course, pray to close out this video, the prayer we always pray, as well as the Lord's Prayer. But I'm going to go ahead and turn the phone around. I see if there were any other messages before I do, just to make sure I didn't miss anybody. And Ruth Ann logged on and said hello, Nancy, and all. And she comes to us from Florida originally, and is a Canadian and from Canada. However, lives in Florida now with her family. And so good to see you, Ruth Ann, and thank you for your comment. Okay, so turning it around, we're starting part 7. Part 7 of the Fall of the Cabal sequel. Part 7 of 28. Just getting it lined up here for you guys. That should do it. Okay, here we go. End of part 6, and part 7 is beginning now. While researching the United Nations, we stumbled across the transfer of millions, even billions of dollars between NGOs, non-government organizations, using the magic words sustainability, nonprofit, and philanthropy. They hide money, laundering, fraud, and corruption. Let's see how this works in practice, shall we?
The United Nations, thought of by millions of people to be a benign organization with only our best interest at heart, turns out to be one of the main engines of the cabal. It is where deals are made, where money is laundered, and where dictators are kept steadily in their seats. The UN works with a multitude of NGOs, some officially under the umbrella of the UN, others more covertly. The term NGO, non-governmental organization, was actually invented by the UN back in 1945. You will soon understand why. It encompasses charities and non-profits, but also lobby groups for big corporations such as the World Economic Forum. At this moment, 5,500 NGOs have consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. This means they have a formal relationship with the UN and are allowed to participate in the work of the UN. They are all independent from government control and answer to one entity only, the United Nations. Interesting fact in and of itself, don't you think? What we stumbled upon during our research was an enormous cash flow between these NGOs. It seems like they all support each other's work, like one big happy family. Well, that is mostly a sign of money laundering. Mind you, there are big names involved here. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Buffett Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Turner Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Clinton Foundation. Big names moving around with bigger amounts of money. Their financial reports seem impeccable, of course, but the money flow gets lost in the abundance of NGOs involved. The non-specific destination of the billions of dollars moved around like grants to recipients. What does that mean? and the existence of alliances of NGOs that makes things even less transparent. Like, for instance, the Fund for Shared Insight, a group of 7 funders, and a pool of financial and other resources to make rounds to improve philanthropy. Nice and vague. Let's have a look at the Rockefeller Foundation. Did you know there's also the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors, the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the Richard Rockefeller Fellowship, the David Rockefeller Fund, the Rockefeller Family Fund, the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, and the Eileen Rockefeller Growell Family Fund? They all move around tidal waves of money, I'm talking billions, often between foundations set up by members of the same family. Not only the Rockefellers show us clearly how to keep it in the family, Warren Buffett is another great example, with the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, named after Warren's wife, the Sherwood Foundation, set up by their daughter Susan Alice, the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, with their son Howard as chairman and CEO, the Novo Foundation, co-funded by their son Peter and his wife Jennifer, and the Buffett Early Childhood Fund, set up by Warren's daughter again, Susan Alice. In July 2020, Warren Buffett announced that he would, once again, it's sort of an annual thing, be giving 15.9 million Class B shares of his mega company, Berkshire Hathaway, to 5 charities. Take a wild guess. All of these shares, worth $2.9 billion, went to the very same Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation, the Sherwood Foundation, the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, the Novo Foundation, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now, the latter is not a big surprise, as Warren Buffett had taken Bill Gates under his wings back in 1991, when his mother set up a meeting between her 37-year-old son and the excessively rich and powerful tycoon, Warren Buffett. A deal was made, and from that moment on, the destinies of Bill and Warren were intertwined forever. More about which soon. Since 2006, Warren Buffett has moved $37 billion in shares to, well, basically his children, without paying a dime of tax. Why don't you try to donate some money to your children without the tax administration stepping in to claim a big chunk? By the way, the Buffett Foundation is known for its secrecy, often appearing under grand acknowledgements as an anonymous donor, which is rather strange when it concerns donations of many millions or even billions of dollars, simply unaccounted for. But like we said at the intro of this episode, these NGOs, no matter how big and powerful, are independent from government control. Let that sink in. The Buffett Foundation invests heavily in reproductive health and family planning grants across the world, including substantial investments in abortion and contraceptives. In the 1990s, the Buffett Foundation helped finance the development of the abortion drug RU486. Between 2001 and 2014, the foundation contributed over $1.5 billion to abortion-related causes, including at least $427 million to Planned Parenthood and $168 million to the National Abortion Federation. Remember from part 6 that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gave $89.5 million to Planned Parenthood? Were you shocked when you heard this number? Well, the Buffett Foundation makes the Gates Foundation pale in comparison. It gave Planned Parenthood $427 million. Why are all these most wealthy men alive so obsessed with killing babies? What we discovered upon investigating the largest and most influential NGOs was that they all primarily focus on reproductive health. In our previous episode, we showed you what that really means in practice. Eugenics, depopulation, pillaging less developed countries for their precious minerals, and money laundering.
I'll read that just in case someone is driving or whatever. The illegal money laundering, the illegal process of concealing the origins of illegally obtained money by passing it through a complex sequence of banking transfers or of commercial transactions. The money is then brought back into the legal financial circuit.
One of the brilliant moves when it comes to money laundering is the transfer to subsidiaries, also known as child companies, to make things even less transparent. Let's have a look at some examples. Ever heard of Arabella Advisors? Probably not. Yet you should. Here's why. Arabella Advisors is a for-profit consulting company founded in 2005 by former Clinton administration appointee Eric Kessler. According to Arabella's own website, they provide strategic guidance for effective philanthropy. Effective philanthropy, huh? Let's see what that means. Arabella claims to have carried out more than 150 projects for clients that are worth more than $100 billion. Not exactly a small fish, right? What else? Arabella manages 4 non-profits, and this is where it gets interesting. The New Venture Fund, the 1630 Fund, the Hopewell Fund, and the Windward Fund. These 4 non-profits serve as accelerators for yet another range of non-profits that, according to several investigative sources, are fake organizations that are little more than a website and a suite address. Now, we dove into Arabella and its 4 minions because we saw them appear time and again in the midst of the giants, such as the Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, etc. As we'd never heard of them before, we decided to look into them. It took us many 24/7 weeks. Never before were financial reports so confusing, so non-transparent. Arabella Advisors and its 4 non-profits use tax regulations to the max, moving money from C3s to C4s, which is more profitable when it comes to tax deductions. Thanks to the pass-through arrangements, funding is passed from one organization to another, making it difficult to trace where a donor's money ends up. As we searched for weeks, our astonishment grew. Then we ran into the work of Capital Research Center. Our findings collaborated with those of their researchers, like Hayden Lutwy, who described Arabella as a dark money monster and the left's best-kept secret. Arabella is the left's best-kept secret that proves something money and politics reporters have failed to notice. Non-profits, not the parties, drive our politics. Since Arabella's inception, it's sponsored roughly 340 groups. These fake groups rarely disclose their relationship to Arabella Advisors or any of its 4 in-house non-profits. Nevertheless, many of them accept donations from the public, funds which go to Arabella's non-profits. This system also allows these groups to hide their funders, since it's virtually impossible to trace individual grants to Arabella's 4 non-profits to any particular fake group. These 340 Pop-up groups are slick websites posing as grassroots activist groups that can appear and vanish in an instant. Since 2006, this network has pumped a stunning $2.4 billion into politics. Between 2008 and 2018, Arabella's 4 non-profits paid the company nearly $103 million in contracting and management services fees. Interesting money flow, but it gets more interesting. According to various independent researchers, Arabella and its 4 non-profits equal dark money. Dark money is money raised to influence elections. This money is raised by non-profit organizations that do not have to disclose the identity of their donors. In other words, a complete lack of transparency where it concerns millions and millions of dollars, all aimed at one goal and one goal alone, influencing the outcome of elections, or more concrete, making sure the Democrats win at all cost. Let's see if we can find any evidence for such a crude accusation, shall we? Let's have a look at Arabella's 4 non-profits. Any clues there to such conspiracy theories? First, there is the 1630 Fund. In 2018, it received massive anonymous donations. It later turned out that $26.7 million had come from the New Venture Fund, one of its sister funds. The 1630 Fund, the 501c4 advocacy wing of Arabella's non-profit network, is a massive dark money group that boosted Democrats in the 2018 midterm elections with $140 million. The 1630 Fund's biggest single donation, made anonymously, was for $51.7 million, more than the group had ever raised before in an entire year before President Donald Trump was elected. One of 1613 Fund's projects, or pop-up groups, is Demand Justice, an anti-Trump organization.
Since taking office, Donald Trump has been hard
at
at
the
work.
beginning of 2018, Demand Justice did not exist.
I'm going to put that back a little
And
bit.
18, new ventures from George Soros's Open Society Foundations. It was the
Okay, last year's confirmation process for now Justice Brett Kavanaugh was a sham from the start, where it said impeach Brett Kavanaugh.
same organization that blasted Justice Brett Kavanaugh during his Supreme Court confirmation.
Amy Coney Barrett would threaten your health care and your reproductive freedom. We have to stop her. We just saw a Supreme Court decision on birthright citizens, or the anchor babies, where she did not put America first, in my opinion.
Interesting. What about number 2, the Hopewell Fund? The Hopewell Fund is a 501c3 non-profit created in 2015. It primarily manages pro-abortion projects, including Equity Forward, which attacks the Trump administration for opposing the left-wing abortion agenda. Okay. What about number 3, the New Venture Fund? The New Venture Fund, located at the same address, the same suite, number 300, a platform for philanthropists. Between 2014 and 18, New Venture Fund received $1.6 billion in donations. In 2018 alone, this was 395 million, for which they hired consultants for a total sum of $28.3 million, of which 90 million went straight back to Arabella Advisors, his mother company. To give you a nice little example, New Venture Fund sponsors its own project, Media Democracy Fund, located at the same address in DC and the exact same suite, number 300. Media Democracy Fund describes itself as a catalyst for an open, secure and equitable internet. God knows what that has to do with charity. Well, we can tell you why it was set up in the first place. To push Obama's net neutrality. In other words, to increase the government's control of the internet. We're talking censorship. Media Democracy Fund is run by a few young people with no surnames and no real profile pictures. Still, since its founding in 2006, it has made more than $34 million. Oh, and surprise, it is supported by the Open Society Foundations of George Soros, the multi-billionaire we showed in part 2 of The Fall of the Cabal, the man responsible for his destabilizing and dividing mega projects, such as the illegal alien invasion, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa. Yet another interesting little detail about New Venture Fund is their interest in America Votes, yet another one of their fake pop-ups. New Venture Fund gave a $2.35 million grant to America Votes in 2018, which is a lot of money for a business that, according to its own website, aims to advance progressive policies and win elections. Win elections? Wow, I mean, that is weird. I thought we were looking at charity funds here, right? Well, obviously not. Oh, a New Venture Fund's sister, the 1630 Fund, gave no less than $27 million to America Votes. All you have to do is take a look at who sponsors American Votes. Take a wild guess, my friends. Democratic Attorneys General Association, Democratic Governors Association, Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee, Democrats.com, National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Oh, and let's not forget Planned Parenthood and Stand Up America, committed to resisting Trump's agenda and unrigging the corrupt system that put him in the White House. Let's make something clear, once and for all. First, the corrupt system is exactly what President Trump is fighting. It is the corrupt system that tried to prevent Donald J. Trump from entering the White House. Furthermore, whether you like Trump or not is not relevant. He is your president. He was elected twice by a majority of the American people. That is called democracy. Now, just because you hate Trump doesn't mean he was put in the White House by mistake. There was no Russian collusion, remember? Years of investigations have gone by in which the Democrats did everything they possibly could think of to get rid of their opponent. Well, guess what? It didn't work. They failed miserably. You want to know why? Because, and I will say this again loud and clear, because Donald J. Trump was elected by the majority of the American people to be their president. That's why. So my question to the Democratic Trump haters out there is, which part of democracy don't you understand? The amount of money that is moved around within the limits of the law is staggering. The more we study this topic, the more we realized that in order to drain the swamp in philanthropy land, laws would have to be rewritten. Over the past 5 years, the David and Lucille Packard Foundation donated no less than $245 million to NGOs working in the area of reproductive health. Remember these names. They will return again and again. Once you understand who they are and how they play the world stage, moving assets around, dominating national policies, you will never again think of these titans as philanthropists. Take Pathfinder. The Pathfinder Fund, fully into reproductive health and family planning, we now know what that means, was founded in 1957 by Clarence Gamble, heir to the Procter & Gamble fortune and advocate of birth control, forced sterilization of mental patients, and eugenics. Pathfinder received $673 million over the past 5 years to be used for their reproductive health projects. Where did this money come from? Well, their main donors and grantors are the Gates Foundation, the Buffett Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation, the Hewlett Foundation, the Packard Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, Tides, Global Health Initiatives, part of the WHO, and USAID, that awarded $970 million to Pathfinder in the form of grants and contracts between 2005 and 2021. Other donors are the Novo Foundation, Open Society Foundations from George Soros, the Passport Foundation, Robertson Foundation, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Rockefeller Foundation, and Wellspring Philanthropic Fund. We cannot stress sufficiently to please do your own research. Simply take one of these sheets and dive into these names. Take Fidelity. According to its IRS Form 990 for 2018, Fidelity Investments Charitable Gift Fund moved nearly $107 million to two of Arabella's nonprofits. The New Venture Fund, $73 million. And Hopewell Fund, $34 million. We can, however, assure you that you will get stuck in the spiderweb of C3s and C4s, and that's where you will meet the end of transparency, if it ever was there in the first place. You see, even though you get some information through the IRS Form 990, the umbrella company Arabella is a for-profit organization, which means they do not have to fill in a 990 form. That's where darkness sets in. As in, indeed, dark money.
We do realize that our motto, do your own research, is not always easy. The 2018 IRS 990 form of Fidelity Investments alone contains 17,316 pages. As many recipients are not even named, one has to go through all the other pop-ups in order to find pieces of the puzzle. An immense task that took us many weeks.
Okay, let's have a look at the Rockefeller Foundation. I showed the massive power empire of the Rockefellers in my first documentary about the fall of the cabal, in part 2. Now please bear in mind that the Rockefeller Foundation 990 forms contain between 350 and 400 pages each year. So what we did, after having studied each and every one of them, we narrowed it down for you by highlighting some anomalies, those donations that jumped out for their numbers and or recipients. The Rockefeller Foundation gave $666,666 to the City University of New York, associated with the number of the beast. Okay, I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? The Rockefeller Foundation gave $4 million to DataKind, an NGO for data science, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Open Society Foundations, Microsoft, Rockefeller Foundation, Hewlett Foundation, MasterCard, Google, and others. A data science company? Then it gave $25.7 million to the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. More about this scandalous fraud in Part 9. In 2018 alone, the Rockefeller Foundation invested no less than $4.1 billion. Most of the money went to investment companies such as BlackRock, with $4.4 billion in securities apart from charitable purposes. To cut a long and boring story short, let's put it this way. After God knows how many hours of research into the financial reports of these NGOs, we came to the following conclusions. All charity NGOs, in which millions of dollars are moved around, have nothing to do with charity whatsoever. They are simply the perfect business model for money laundering. In spite of the millions or even billions of dollars involved, no tax is paid. The astronomical amounts of money are, apart from being laundered, transferred to support the Democrats and their agendas. Think abortion facilities and other family planning and population control topics. As such, it is the non-profits that drive US policies, not the political parties. Most charity money goes directly to Wall Street, to NASDAQ and other stock exchanges, where it is invested in, well, anything lucrative. Those are projects you do not get access to unless you have a certain clearance level. It could range from legal to illegal investments such as drug and human trafficking. Arabella helps its clients implement centre-left political agendas through sometimes risky programming investments. So, our question to you is this. How do you feel about your donation to charity being used to avoid tax, to be invested in risky programming investments, which could be anything, and to go straight to the Democrat Party, either to support a presidential election or to rig one, or to help fund one of their projects such as population control or any other means or method to facilitate the New World Order? How does that make you feel? How can it be that these so-called charities don't have to account for so much money, both where it came from and where it went to? How can it be that these NGOs that move billions around work from a simple suite? There are countless consultancies involved in charity that are granted millions of dollars to do their work. Why, for heaven's sake? I mean, suppose you advise individuals and companies on how to invest money into charity. Don't you simply get paid for your services by your clients? Why does an Office for Data Science receive millions and millions of dollars? To do what? And why is it a non-profit organization? Why does it have major sponsors such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Open Society Foundations, Microsoft, Rockefeller Foundation, Hewlett Foundation, MasterCard, Google? Why do these NGOs form alliances in order to improve philanthropy? How hard is it to pick a fund and donate? The more we dove into the subject, the more we realized just how insane this all was. Within the limits of the law, oh yes, but insane and wrong nevertheless. The UN, with all of its NGOs and charity funds, connected either directly or indirectly, moving billions around, hens and forth, laundering money to their heart's content, investing enormous amounts on the stock market, making more money and even more, without ever having to pay a dime of tax. And like I said, they are all independent from government control and answer to one entity alone, the United Nations. Does this mean all NGOs are bad news? Probably not. I'm sure the smaller ones and the local ones have not been dragged into the dark swamp. I'm sure they do great work, real charity. But the big ones, the ones with the multi-million-dollar sign on them, like Oxfam, that held sex orgies with minors in Haiti? Minors as in children? Like the Red Cross, that after a history of discrimination of black and gay people whom they refused to help during times of despair, collected $500 million for Haiti in 2010 after the devastating earthquake, and used that money to build 6 houses? When you find out how much the presidents of those NGOs make, will you donate money ever again? So, where does all of the above leave us? In a big, sticky, criminal spider web, with hungry spiders everywhere. One of those spiders is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Follow me to part 8.
I learned this years and years ago about these NGOs and these charities, and it just gutted me. Seeing all of these disasters, these earthquakes, tsunamis, all of the things happening worldwide, and all of these big organizations going in there, and knowing what, we need to know. We need to know. That's why I'm sharing this series. That's why it's so vitally important, the work that Janet Ossebaard and Cyntha Koeter has done, and Cyntha continues to do. Knowing that Janet lost her life, in my opinion, as a result of this. It's hard to take. It's difficult to sometimes comprehend all of the things that we learn on our journeys. But God made it clear enough when he said, "For my people will perish for lack of knowledge." He wants us to know. He said everything that's been kept secret, hidden and in the dark, will be revealed and will come to light. He wants us not to be ignorant, which is lack of knowledge. He wants us to have the knowledge, as we can do better, and we can do the right thing, and we can know the truth and stand up for it. And that's what we do. That's what I do and have been doing, and seeking truth always for over 5 years now. And I know so many of you that follow me are doing the same in your own way, in your season, in this season of your life, however God is presenting that for you, and where you're planted, so to speak. So with that being said, we will, next podcast, do the 2 articles that I put together, the one on the federal, the tax, the the IRS and tax and all of that, and the 16th Amendment, as well as the SCOTUS regarding the military. But I didn't want to put off part 7 here. I think this is so vitally important for each one of us to gain more knowledge. And if you're here and you agree, then if you're here, you agree with that. And for those that are, that's who I'm doing this for. So with that being said, we're going to pray as we always do. The prayer from the Q Military Intelligence Operation, the drops that were posted online, this particular post or drop was published on September 20th of 2020. It is drop number 4739. If you wanted to look it up on qalerts.app, you can go put in the pound sign and 4739, and this prayer will come up. If you want to pray it in your time, on your time, you can get a copy of it right there. But for now, let's pray it in agreement together. Lift our voices to the Lord. Q, the people, they say less than 10 people comprise that particular part of Q, the leadership of Q. And they definitely know the Lord. They definitely know what spiritual warfare is. They definitely knew what we would need on our journeys. As we came out of 2020, here we are already at 2026. This prayer has been published for almost 6 years. So let's pray it together. Pray in agreement. Strengthen our faith, Lord. Forgive us our sins so that we may be clean in your righteousness. Make us brave so we can stand and fight the spiritual battles that are in our lives and in our world. Give us your wisdom and discernment, Lord, so we won't be caught off guard. Together, Lord, we win because in truth, you already have. While evil still roams, the power of your name and your blood rises up in victory against every evil planned against us. While malicious actions may disturb us, we use the armor of God that you have equipped us with and given us to stand firm. You will bring justice in due time for all of the needless violence aimed at your children. But until then, we remain in your presence, Lord, aligned with your purposes, and we look to you as our supreme commander and protector. Help us to avoid temptation and deliver us from evil. Lord, you are the mighty one. You are the one who will ultimately bring all evil to light. With you, Jesus, we are safe. Our Father, who art in heaven, holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, right here, as it is in heaven. Thank you, Lord. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And thank you for delivering this world from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. And all of the people said, amen. So thank you for those that were able to stay with me to the end here. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you for your comments, everyone that were able to leave comments and join together on this podcast as we have for over 5 years now. I'm just so glad you were here. If you weren't here, I'd be looking in this thing at me all night long, just me. And if your comments weren't here, it would be a lonely place for me. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it deeply, and I hope it helps you along your journey, along your awakening journey, and encourages you. Not only gives you knowledge, but gives you hope and encouragement. With that, I'll say this is Nancy with Seeking Truth Always, and that will do it for tonight. I look forward to being with you next time. God bless you, and goodbye for now.